So we are on Diwali Day, 2024, and conversation between Dheeraj and Rajan sir. Um, uh, so Rajan sir, let me start by framing a thought, and then I'll let you comment. Um, my grandfather lived till 99, and you know, an interaction with my son. Once he uh, gave him the gift of the Gayatri Mantram. Om Bhurvosva Tatsavitarvarenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. அதனோடு இன்டர்பிரேஷன் அண்ட் மீனிங் அதை வச்சு கொஞ்சம் on a Diwali day if you can elaborate for us, it will be good.
Excellent, certainly. It is a mantra of affirmation. The affirmation you're doing is in the context of the three levels of creation. Bhuhu refers to the physical world. Bhubaha refers to the spiritual world, the place from where people come before they are born and where they go after they leave the body, unless, of course, they have moksha or they get dissolved. And the third level is the zone of origination of everything. The idea of Swa is the true sense of you, which is you identify with Ishvara or God, the source of everything. So within the context of these three levels in which creation exists, what we do as an individual is we affirm to us that Tat Savitur Varenyam refers to, Tat is that, Savitur Varenyam refers to the brilliance of the sun. So we refer to that brilliance of the sun and we use that brilliance of the sun from there, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. That is, may you be enlightened with the brilliance of the sun, enlightened with the wisdom of the spiritual beings. And then Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. And from that intelligence, may you have your impact on the world. Prachodayat means to spread or to emanate. So that basically is the affirmation that comes from the basic Gayatri Mantra.
And you described the difference between Dhi and Manas.
Yes.
Manas.
Dhi refers to intelligence, which is really what you would call as cosmic wisdom, which is innate within you. Whereas on the other hand, the role of the mind is logical reasoning, which brings in like, dislike, categorization of everything. So this is not about the categorization or the logical thinking of the mind, but rather seeking cosmic wisdom. I do need to say something, even as we talk about the Gayatri Mantra and meditating on it as an affirmation. In the tradition of any kind of affirmation or mantra, it is all about meditating and connecting into the source of everything so that you can recognize who you are in the nature of existence. We are definitely not this physical body. We come into this body and leave the body. But then to understand who you are and what the cosmic wisdom, that is why people go into meditation. And Gayatri Mantra and this approach was cast by a sage called Vishwamitra, who thought this would be very helpful for humanity. Now, simply affirming like this is not going to get you anywhere. Any affirmation works only as long as the channels of communication within you are clear enough to connect into that domain, into the higher domain. So
an affirmation, could you say an affirmation is nothing but an intention?
That is right. But an intention can work in the spiritual plane only so as long as the communication channels are clear. And when we talk about the communication channels, within ourselves, we are really a programmed entity. While we look at the physical body, our real programmed entity is in the spiritual plane, which is constantly connecting with us. The body and functioning in the physical world is only a representation. Just like what you see on a computer screen or a printer that is working, the inner dimension is the program within, and that is powered by the electricity or energy to move everything else that happens, right? Yeah. That is all there is. So the physical element is only a representation of the higher intent.
That's very interesting. The one of the examples I heard, analogies I heard, is that just because your screen has these, uh, a representation of a file, that representation of a file which is shown on your desktop is not actually the file.
No, that's right.
Deep inside, it is ones and zeros.
Yes.
And which is represented to us as that file icon.
That's right. But so that we don't get deviated from the concept of what we do meditation for, is we are looking to clear and connect. And connect and what? With the intention of developing or imbibing the cosmic knowledge. That is the purpose of the Gayatri Mantra. So before the Gayatri Mantra is used for meditation, you need to do other things to clear the channel so that you can connect.
Mm-hmm.
And so the clearing of the channel works by various degrees. Anything for you to do and express being in the physical body, your energy needs to be in good balance. For the energy to be in good balance, the control of the energy is our central nervous system, brain and spine. And so two things are required for the vitality in the body to function effectively. First thing is the spine has to be aligned. So that's why we always say sit up straight. Second thing is there should be enough moisture in the body, and that is what triggers the effectiveness of the peripheral nervous system. So if a person is dehydrated, they will feel tired and the mind doesn't work as effectively. So what happens is in traditional system, they do what is called the Achamani. And after doing the Achamanam, Achudaya Namaha, Anandaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha, then they go on to touching various part of the organs with the fingers. Keshava Narayana, Madhava Govinda, Vishnu Madhusudana, Tirukama Vamna, Sridhara Rishikesha Padmanabha Damodara. If you look over here, they are really focusing on all the organs that stimulate action from you. Actually, action or reception. So when they touch the ear, ear is the organ of hearing. The nose is the organ of breathing. The eyes, the cheeks, when you touch, you're really referring to the mouth. The shoulders reflect the arms to work with. And then the navel and the top are very important point. Navel is considered the seat of the energy, and the top of the head is the seat of connecting beyond. And so those places you activate by touch. There is a technique called emotional freedom technique that many people use these days. By tapping on yourself, you can release this thing. So you can realize how it is this touching of.
No, it is very interesting. When in the South American tradition, when you use the rapé, the tobacco, one thing they do is first start with an intention.
Yes.
The second thing is align the spine. It's very interesting the similarities. The third thing is any of these mantras, Rim or Om, they take it all the way from the root chakra all the way up and bring it down. And then just after the tobacco enters, you're supposed to, like you said, tap your body in different places and rub the various parts with like a pinching kind of, they do this pinching kind of thing in to get you to a certain, moving the energy is how they say.
Exactly. Now the thing is, it can be done in various ways. Now the next step after that is you're invoking the sun to kind of help you with the energy. So that's why they do what is called the Arghya Pradhan. And after the Arghya Pradhan, then they do the 10 breaths of the pranayama. And that all of this is geared towards balancing the energy within you. However, balancing the energy is not enough to create what in spiritual language is called enough purity. The concept of purity is the channels of communication at that time are not clouded by the other programs that are running within you and activating your mind.
There's a lot of other programs running all the time.
All the time. So you don't want them to disturb them. So what happens is,
and some of those programs take a lot of energy. Right?
Exactly.
And they are, yeah.
Exactly. So what they in the system that we do is we do invocation of 3 spiritual entities who help us clear that path. The first one is called Gayatri. So this we call Gayatri Avahayam. We take within, and the moment you do that, the spirit Gayatri means the spirit that takes you beyond the body. So effectively, the first channels of the whatever bodily related functions are in there, you have cleared the channels so that you are ready to invoke the next level. The next level is Savitri Avahya. Savitri means that spirit that takes you beyond Savita. Savita is the sun.
Sun. Beyond the
sun.
In other words, beyond sun and all of the bodies that exist in space time.
Yes. So sun defines anything where light can go. So where the light can go, it is referred to often as the Surya Mandala or the known physical world, 3-dimensional.
What can it be called, the Akasa?
Akasha, yes and no. In the temporal world, Akasha is the space, so you can call it Akasha.
Yes.
But there is
I'm talking about Akasha as space-time.
Yeah, but space-time as Akasha is, when you define it in terms of the 3-dimensional world, it is a narrower picture because the space-time concept even exists in the spiritual world.
Interesting.
And so the thing is basically, when we talk of Akasha, it also goes into the spiritual world. Okay, so, and the key aspect of Akasha is the ability to communicate within with vibration. All electromagnetic communication we can think of. And if you can think of, we are more often cognizant with 2 types of communication. One kind of communication that is created by physical matter. You tap on something, when you speak, there are real physical elements moving that create what you call audio frequency. Whereas the audio frequency, by hitting against a diaphragm with a magnet behind, can make it into electromagnetic frequency. And then, when the electromagnetic frequency hits against a different kind of a space, it goes into a different kind of frequency called scalar waves. And the scalar waves, we believe, from a scientific standpoint, is the access into the world that is beyond the 3-dimensional world, into the spiritual space. So the thing is, you see,
so Savitri is about moving from that space,
moving outside the 3-dimensional world. Savitri is by saying you want to go beyond the sun. You're really invoking the spirit that takes you beyond the 3-dimensional.
Beyond the 3 dimensions, or even the 4 dimensions, because it's space time. So
the thing is,
what about time? How do you put time?
No, the thing is, you see, for us, time is defined by the 3-dimensional world.
Interesting.
However, in the context of all of creation, from the root source, the concept of space-time is more than the 3-dimensional world. So when you and I talk of the 3-dimensional world, we are only limited to the physical world. The Einsteinian concept of space-time is only the 3-dimensional physical world.
Got it.
But our philosophical side, space-time also governs the spiritual world. Okay? So we don't need to get confused there. We'll limit ourselves to the physical world.
Got it.
So, but the going beyond Savitri is going to take you beyond the light of the sun, which means beyond the physical world. So you invoke that spirit. Then the third spirit you invoke is Saraswati. So actually, once you go beyond the physical world, then the pathway you're seeking is the path Saraswati literally means that which gives you the sweet, whatever comes from there. So something that is very pleasant, delightful, sweet. And what that is the cosmic knowledge. And the source of the cosmic knowledge is the source of everything, God, Ishvara.
It's very interesting. The word Saraswati is used for knowledge in our world.
Yes.
But as you move from Gayatri to Savitri and Savitri to Saraswati, what I'm seeing is a journey from manifestation to abstraction. And all knowledge, therefore, at some level, is abstractions of various things that will be manifested later. Is that a
That is absolutely true. In the sense, what happens is this is why there is often a saying within the Indian spiritual system: the one who has realized probably has very little to say, and because what it is whatever you have realized is you can never put it in enough expression for another person to understand.
yes, yes, yes.
And the one,
I clearly am not realized because I have so much to say.
no, but the thing is, you see, the saying is that one who has not realized will be giving a lot of knowledge to other people as if they were realized.
Right, right.
So the second
I
thing,
think I feel maybe that is also a journey that person is taking in realizing, because I feel that,
the,
like you said, the act of explaining is probably for oneself as much as is for the other person, maybe more for oneself, because the act of explanation is an act of clarification.
yes, an act of explanation is an act of clarification in your own mind, and that often leads to further inquiry.
Further inquiry.
So it is part of the journey, but
Teaching is learning.
yes, teaching is part of the learning, but the key part again is from the perspective of a true seeker. Whatever you learn from anyone, don't think you have learned the ultimate.
Because you have to do it.
Do it, and also what it is anybody who is teaching in a larger forum than one on one. In the ancient tradition, it is said true wisdom comes from self inquiry.
Yeah.
But to promote that self inquiry, when you work with a spiritual teacher, it is always a one on one discussion. Dialogue. And it is never a public presentation.
Yes, interesting.
So, anywhere when you are teaching in a classroom or presenting to a number of people, that is not a place where you can really imbibe high level true knowledge.
Because the dialogue cannot happen.
Whereas on the other hand, that becomes anything that goes over there just like a published book. If you look at anything that is published, whether on the web or a book or whatever, we can safely assume 99.99% of everything ever published has some information and lot of disinformation.
Interesting.
And that is the reason anything that is published or come in that domain, you can never swallow it and accept it as God's truth.
Yeah, because there is uh, while there is the information, the dialoguing, which is the interaction of the entities, does not exist, and the um, uh, and there's also obviously there's not an element of doing. If I were to look at doing as an element of this whole thing, it's fascinating. I hope this 10-minute video on audio on Diwali day finds its use uh, for people. But um, you know, uh, is there a purpose to Ishvara, the cosmic intelligence? Is there a purpose there? Is the last question I have for you.
The answer is described from a philosophical perspective as follows. See, common people, when they are engaged in anything, they do it for the fun of it, right? Except when they are forced into labor for earning an income or whatever.
Yes.
Whatever they are doing is for the fun of it. They are enjoying. So in Kashmir Shaivism, they say that for God, all of creation is like going in front of a mirror like an artist who is expressing themselves or doing it for the fun of it.
Mm.
So that is the idea of how creation and where
Wow.
everything
So
comes.
it's to some extent uh, the all Ishvara consciousness to some extent is experiencing itself through itself,
That's right.
and we are just tools for that experience.
We are all like pixels on a computer screen. When a program is running, a video game is happening over there. That is how.
Wow, that's a nice thought to end this audio with. Thank you, Rajan sir.